Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into a fascinating modern coin that's already turning heads in the numismatic world, the 2022 United States quarter featuring Wilma Mankiller. At first glance, it might seem like just another quarter, but hold on tight, because there's much more to this coin than meets the eye. This isn't just a piece of change in your pocket, it's a tribute, a legacy, and in some cases, a hidden treasure. This special quarter is part of the U.S. Mint's American Women Quarters program, launched in 2022 to honor the accomplishments and contributions of extraordinary American women. And Wilma Mankiller was truly extraordinary. She made history as the first woman elected principal chief of the Cherokee Nation, a powerful symbol of strength, leadership, and resilience. That spirit is captured beautifully in the coin's design. Take a moment to admire the reverse of the coin. Wilma Mankiller is shown confidently gazing forward, wrapped in a traditional shawl, standing strong against a backdrop of the seven-pointed Cherokee star, representing the 7 clans of the Cherokee people. Her name and the word "Principal Chief" are inscribed boldly. Flip it over and you'll see the familiar portrait of George Washington, but with a twist. It's the new right-facing design by Laura Garden Fraser, originally created in 1932 but only recently adopted in this series. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin so interesting to collectors. First, its historical and cultural significance makes it a standout piece in any modern collection. But beyond that, some 2022 Wilma Mankiller quarters have features that take their value to another level. While millions of these coins were minted, not all are created equal. Collectors are always on the lookout for special errors and varieties, and the Wilma Mankiller quarter does not disappoint. Some of the most desirable errors include double die obverse, where the lettering or features appear doubled, die cracks, off-center strikes, and even coins struck on the wrong planchet. These types of errors can turn a 25-cent coin into a highly sought-after collectible. Another key factor in value is condition. Coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC and given a high mint state grade, such as MS67 or higher, are much more valuable than circulated coins. Even slight differences in luster, strike, or marks can make a big difference in the eyes of collectors. Now here's something that might surprise you. In recent months, a few Wilma Mankiller quarters in pristine condition or with rare errors have shown up at auctions, and some have sold for impressive prices. While your everyday pocket change version might be worth just face value, collectors have paid as much as $200 for certified high-grade specimens. And error coins? Depending on the rarity and condition, they can sell for even more, some fetching $500 or higher. So, before you toss that 2022 quarter into a vending machine, take a closer look. You might be holding a piece of American history, and maybe even a small fortune. It's proof that coin collecting is about more than just money. It's about the stories, the people, and the moments that shaped our world, captured forever in metal. Top 2. We're unlocking the mystery behind a coin that many people have in their possession but don't realize could be worth much more than just 25 cents. The 1982 United States quarter dollar. Now, you might be thinking, what's so special about a quarter from 1982? It's not ancient, it's not gold, and it's not commemorative. But sometimes, rarity and value come not from age or shine, but from something far more interesting: mistakes, minting quirks, and the historical context in which a coin was made. And the 1982 quarter is the perfect example of that. Let's set the stage. In the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint was going through a lot of changes: budget cuts, coin shortages, and increasing demand from a booming economy. In 1982, something unusual happened. For the first time in years, the U.S. Mint did not produce uncirculated mint sets, which meant fewer high-quality examples of coins from that year were saved. Most of the quarters from 1982 went straight into circulation, tossed into pockets, change jars, and vending machines, and over time, they got beat up, scratched, and worn down. That makes finding a 1982 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition a real challenge, and a big deal for collectors, but it gets even better. The 1982 quarters come in two varieties, those minted in Philadelphia and those from Denver. The Philadelphia quarters carry no mint mark, while the Denver ones are marked with a small d. Both have their own appeal, but here's where things get really interesting. Errors. Some 1982 quarters have minting errors that can boost their value dramatically. Collectors have found examples with off-center strikes, die cracks, and double die errors, where the design appears slightly duplicated or shadowed due to a misalignment in the striking process. These flaws may seem small, but in the collector world, they're golden. They make your coin unique, one of a kind, and that's what drives up value. Another fascinating point is the overall strike quality of 1982 quarters. Because the mint was under pressure to meet high demand, some coins were struck with worn or misaligned dies, resulting in weak details. So when a strong, well-struck example from 1982 shows up, especially one with full luster and no damage, it immediately catches the attention of serious collectors, and if your 1982 quarter is in mint state condition, especially graded MS65 or higher by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, you could be sitting on a small jackpot. Add in a rare error or high eye appeal, and you've got something that could be worth much more than most people would expect. So now, let's talk real numbers. What's the actual market value of a 1982 quarter? Well, your average worn-out coin is still worth 25 cents, no surprise there. But if you've got a high-grade uncirculated coin, collectors have paid up to $50 or more for the right example. And those rare error coins, especially double dies or off-center strikes, have sold at auction for as much as $1,000 or even higher, depending on the error and condition. That's right, a coin you've likely seen 1,000 times could be worth a small fortune, if it's the right one. So next time you're going through your change, keep an eye out for that 1982 quarter. Look closely, check for mint marks, examine the details, and you just might discover a hidden treasure. Top 3, we're diving into one of the most talked about and misunderstood coins in American coinage, the 1965 United States quarter dollar. This coin might seem common at first glance, but beneath its plain surface lies a world of history, mystery, and in some cases, money. Real money. Now, if you're holding a 1965 quarter in your hand right now, don't rush to spend it just yet, because there are versions of this coin that collectors are actively hunting for. In fact, some rare varieties have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. So buckle up, you might just have a valuable coin sitting in your change jar. Let's rewind the clock to 1965. It was a year of major change for American coins. Due to rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint made a huge decision. They stopped using 90% silver in dimes, quarters, and half dollars. Before 1965, quarters were made mostly of silver. But starting that year, they switched to a copper-nickel clad composition, removing silver entirely. Because of this, 1965 marks a turning point, and coins from this year are historic. But here's where things get interesting. During the transition, some mistakes were made at the mint. There are rumors and confirmed cases of 1965 quarters that were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. These rare silver 1965 quarters are extremely valuable and are one of the most sought-after modern errors in U.S. coinage. But how do you tell if your 1965 quarter is one of these rare silver strikes? The easiest way is to check the coin's edge. A regular 1965 quarter will show a distinct copper-colored strip along the edge, that's the copper core of the clad coin. But a silver quarter will have a solid silver edge with no copper visible. If you find one of those, you might be holding something special. Another thing to look for is weight. Silver quarters are heavier, they weigh about 6.25 grams compared to the standard 5.67 grams of a clad coin. You'd need a precise scale to measure that, but it could be worth checking if your coin feels just a little heavier than usual. But silver strikes aren't the only thing that make 1965 quarters valuable. There are also rare errors that can make this coin a collector's dream. Look out for double die obverse errors, where the lettering or date appears doubled. These types of errors are caused during the minting process and are always in high demand. Also, watch for off-center strikes, where the design is pushed to one side and part of the coin is blank. Another rare find is a 1965 quarter struck on the wrong planchet, like a dime planchet. These coins are smaller and lighter than normal, and extremely rare. So, let's talk about the value. Your average 1965 quarter found in pocket change is still worth just 25 cents. But if you find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could fetch between $5 and $20 depending on its grade. If you have a rare silver 1965 quarter, those have sold at auction for over $7,000. And certified error coins, like off-center strikes or wrong planchets, have been known to sell for over $1,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 25-cent coin, struck during a time of transition, can be worth thousands if you have the right one. So before you drop that 1965 quarter into a vending machine or tip jar, take a closer look. That small coin in your palm might be more than just change, it could be history, and it could be cash. Top 4, we're taking a closer look at a coin you've probably seen 100 times, maybe even passed over without a second thought, the 1979 United States quarter dollar. But don't be fooled by its ordinary appearance. Some of these coins are far from average, and a few are even worth big bucks. So stay with me till the end, because you might just discover a hidden gem sitting in your pocket. Now, let's rewind to the late 1970s, the era of disco, classic cars, and the beginning of major changes in American coin production. The 1979 quarter was part of the Washington Quarter series, first launched in 1932. Made with a copper-nickel-clad composition, these coins were produced in high numbers, but that doesn't mean they're all the same. Most 1979 quarters were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You'll find these coins with a small P, D, or S mint mark on the right side of Washington's neck. But while millions were made, collectors know that value is never just about how many were struck, it's about how many survived in perfect condition, and which ones have unique features that set them apart. So what makes the 1979 quarter stand out from the crowd? First, condition is key. Most of these coins entered circulation immediately, and decades of wear have taken their toll. That's why uncirculated coins or coins in high mint state grades are far more valuable. If you've got a 1979 quarter that looks flawless, no scratches, bright luster, and crisp details, that's already a strong start. But where things really get exciting is in the world of mint errors and varieties. Yes, even the 1979 quarter has some surprises for collectors. One of the most talked about errors is the off-center strike, where the design is noticeably shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. Then there's the broad strike error, which happens when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread wider than normal. These odd-looking coins are rare and instantly catch the eye of collectors. Another prize find is a double die error, especially on the obverse. This is where the design is slightly doubled, usually visible in the lettering or date. It's subtle but valuable when confirmed by experts. There are also wrong planchet errors, where a quarter design was accidentally struck on a coin blank meant for another denomination, like a nickel. These mismatches are extremely rare and can sell for hundreds, even thousands, depending on the details, and if you find a proof version of the 1979 quarter, made with mirror-like finishes, those are especially interesting if they were mistakenly released into circulation, which does happen from time to time. A proof coin that's been mistakenly spent and found years later can become a real treasure. Now, let's talk numbers. A standard circulated 1979 quarter is still worth its face value, 25 cents. But a coin in mint condition, graded MS65 or higher, can fetch between $20 and $50, depending on the mint mark and quality. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Rare error coins, like an off-center strike or a wrong planchet strike, have sold at auction for over $1,000. And some extremely high-grade examples in pristine condition have brought in several $100s from serious collectors. So next time you get change back at the store, take a second look at those quarters. That plain-looking 1979 coin might be far more valuable than you think. It's always worth checking, because you never know when a common coin might turn out to be a collector's dream. Top 5, and last rare coin, we're digging into a coin you've probably handled dozens of times, the 1981 United States quarter dollar. It might look like your average pocket change, but if you know what to look for, this little coin could actually be hiding a big secret, and maybe even some serious value. At first glance, the 1981 quarter doesn't seem like much. No silver, no shiny commemorative design, and nothing flashy, right? But don't be too quick to judge, because in the world of coin collecting, the true value often lies in the details. And trust me, the 1981 quarter has more going for it than most people realize. Let's start with the basics. The 1981 Washington quarter was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can find the mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and an S for San Francisco. Most of these coins were made for everyday circulation, but not all of them were created equal. One key thing that makes 1981 quarters interesting to collectors is the condition. In 1981, uncirculated coin sets and proof sets were still being made, but many of the coins ended up in circulation anyway. That means finding a high-grade 1981 quarter with full luster and sharp details is becoming harder each year. Collectors pay close attention to details like strike quality, surface marks, and luster when determining a coin's value, and a near-perfect example can definitely stand out from the crowd, but it's not just about condition. What really gets collectors excited are the errors, and yes, 1981 has a few that are worth keeping an eye out for. Some of the most valuable 1981 quarters include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the coin was misaligned during minting. Then there are broad strikes, which happen when the collar that holds the coin in place during striking fails, allowing the metal to spread out and create a warped, flatter appearance. Another prized find is a double die error, especially on the obverse side. This happens when the die that stamps the coin has a slight misalignment, causing the design elements like the date or lettering to appear doubled. These are often subtle, but once spotted, they're instantly more collectible. And here's a really exciting one: wrong planchet errors. Imagine a quarter that was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a dime or even a foreign coin. These kinds of mix-ups are incredibly rare and extremely valuable to error collectors. Let's not forget about the proof-only 1981 S quarters, which were never intended for circulation. These were made with a special process, giving them mirror-like surfaces and sharper detail. Occasionally, one of these finds its way into the wild, and if you happen to stumble on one, especially in good condition, it's a special find. So, let's get to the big question: what's a 1981 quarter really worth? If you've got a circulated 1981 quarter, chances are it's worth just face value, 25 cents. But if you've got a high-grade example, especially graded MS-65 or higher, it could be worth between $10 and $30, depending on the mint mark. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a rare error coin, values can go way up. Off-center strikes or wrong planchets have sold for hundreds, and in some auction cases, even over $1,000. That's right, a small mistake at the mint could turn your pocket change into a payday. So next time you're going through your change, don't skip past the 1981 quarter. Flip it over, check the edge, examine the details, and you might just discover something special hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and tap the bell so you don't miss any of our future coin discoveries. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting, and don't forget to check your change.